Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited today to bring you a author that is beyond spectacular because she only wants to talk to 110 million people that are over 50 years old. And what she wants to do is stab their spirits alive and bring them back into the full glow of their beingness. And she's just written a glorious book called Black Pearl, A Love Letter to the Ocean. Now, as a lifelong diver, and that I just am in love with that, and I'm going to get to see her on the screen here in just a second as Preston brings her in. Welcome, Cynthia Manion. Before I go on, let me just say that she's got an illustrious career, but most importantly, she was born in a little place that most of you may not know where it is, a little place called Scilly's Islands, which is off Africa, off Tanzania. And you grew up with, if you don't mind us starting a little bit smoothly, with sand between your toes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And tell us about how much you love the ocean. She's a great businesswoman. We'll get there before this is over, and a speaker and thinker. But it just, everybody doesn't understand why to love the ocean and the adoration that you have it. So you wrote this love letter to the sea, so to speak.
When you're trying to get back to yourself, if you can just go to the ocean and get in and just lay back and let it take you away and try to get back to who you were as a child, that little seed that you might have lost as you grew up and life and responsibilities and things take over. Just imagine the Indian Ocean is one of the bluest, most beautiful oceans. If you are on looking for a destiny place to go for a marriage, a vacation, to renew your soul to the utmost, I recommend the Seychelles Islands, 1,000 miles off the coast of East Africa in the Indian Ocean, 4 degrees south of the equator. And it was breathtaking. I swam with dolphins and fished and snorkeled and had an amazing shell collection and was so blessed to play with everyone. Did you know in the same family, there could be the blackest black to the whitest white, and everyone gets along. There's no garbage there. Nothing is wasted. Everything is to the land, peaceful. The environment is gorgeous. The mountains are unbelievable. And guess what? Mark, have you seen the green flick before? Yes. That's what we used to do every night. We would stand on the veranda, and back in the day, my dad would have his Manhattan, and my mom, I think she had a Manhattan too. This would be after Dad beat me in ping pong, and everyone would stop. And they sit in those big Singapore chairs, those chairs. And we all see who could see the green flick first and be like, and in Seychelles, it's the perfect place for seeing that green flick. And that's what we did every night. Of course, I had water. And there's amazing fruits and vegetables that grow there that don't grow anywhere else in the whole wide world. Some people even think that the Seychelles Islands include the Garden of Eden. It's a group of 82 islands. So one of the islands is called Prylan. And on that island grows what looks like a coconut called a coca de mer. And it's a very rare delicacy. And that's another little thing, or fruit of the ocean is its translation. There's just so many treasures in the ocean. And look at all the activities you can do on the ocean. You can swim, snorkel, dive, cruise, sail, motorboat, submarine, scuba dive. Those little air things, ski jets. Mother Nature has given us so many wonderful things. And I don't think there's any oceans in Arizona, but I'll come see you there anyway, Mark.
I want to talk about that 2 ways. Number one, ladies and gentlemen, if you're a landlubber and have never been to the ocean, there are a lot of people that have never even been to California or to the East Coast, which is heartbreaking to me. But if you get to go, and if you get to go off to her little chain of islands, it not only, like she said, is breathtaking and illuminating and insightful, but if you just get to lay and just have your soul, like I owned a place in Kona, Hawaii, Kona Bay Estates for a lot of years. We'd watch green flick, and the Hawaiian lore is that if you see the green flick, you're a natural healer. Did you know that? Did you have the same thing in the Seychelles?
I don't remember that. I just always knew that I was blessed, and from another, I've got just enormous thing is always protecting me. Like in your life, lots of bad things happen, but I always just come out. I've just being rebirth. And maybe those green flicks gave me a little extra something. You got to put that on your bucket list to go see if you haven't already.
Well, I haven't been to Seychelles. I've been to Africa 4 times. So why did you write this great book, which I just got to tell you, I read through, and it's so emotionally heart-touching, soul-penetrating. The story is glorious. The overcoming is glorious. The fact that this woman, which I'm going to let you tell who Kat is, but she handles herself with such grace, savoir-faire, panache, aplomb. And ladies and gentlemen, because I'm a sort of a wine connoisseur, you even mentioned in there's a wonderful Smolian wine, which, by the way, just to say the Smolian white wine that you had at the meal is one of my favorite authors in fiction is Sidney Sheldon. And he'd always spend 6 months traveling around picking up the best meals like you did, ladies and gentlemen. And it tells you the places you got to go and the things you got to do. It is more than a great book. And I want everyone to read it. And if you are not a landlubber, but a sea person, like the two of us are, and I'm a lifelong recovery team diver, you really need to get into this, because the ocean is something that she's got lots of things that she does. She's a polymath. But why did you write the book? I just had to give you this great platform because you deserve the accolade and the boost. And I want this to sell as well as Nora Roberts or Danielle Steele's.
Ooh, thank you, Mark. Me too. I want you to read this book. Everyone, because I believe you'll get that magic. We all went through stuff, right? And so Kat is my heroine, right? And she actually is my soul sister. It's a fiction book, but there is a woman who is like this in my life. And she has gone through all of these things, slightly altered for fiction. And every woman has, every man too, probably. It is amazing as you go through the corporate world and you're trying to, you start off and you have big dreams and stuff happens. And sometimes people move into a good place and sometimes people move into a bad place. And it's up to you to ask the right questions and to pull yourself out, because it's in your soul. It's in here. And you know that. You always know that. And when you listen to the whisper and you pull it out like Kat does in the book, and you just keep going, your life will be so much better. You have that deep happiness. So Kat, I don't want to give away the book, but she goes to her childhood little spark that brought her joy in life. And every day she keeps her body, mind, and soul in shape. And she is out there swimming in California in the beautiful Pacific Ocean. And she gets up and makes sure she does her exercises first thing in the morning, which is something that I do. And she swims. And of course she swims beautifully, kind of like a mermaid. And this gets her in shape. And then she meets an interesting man who's surfing. Yes. And meanwhile, she has a whole business and she's, climbing and doing good, and she gets the right support, and then almost looks like everything's going to crash in. And she listens and she goes, and then a big accident happens, trauma, and her whole world could have fallen apart. But what do strong women do who listen to themselves? You get up, dust yourself off, and you find another way. Or you shift, you pivot, you move. You ask for help. You research it. You ask your friends. You go in and go, okay, all right, what am I going to do? Okay, let's pick the first 3 things I can do today. And every day you just take a little step, discipline and consistency. Or you take a little swim or take a little paddle. Swish, swish, swish. You take those moments to relax and refuel. And it's amazing when everyone works together as a team and everyone's passion is ignited, and you just ask for help in the right way, and you give back and you love each other, and magic happens. Magic. It's happening to me right now. I'm feeling a whole rebirth, and writing a book is something I've wanted to do since 2nd grade. And then I started when I was 21, and I have 4 books started, and here we are. Book number 1 with Mark Victor Hansen and Crystal Hansen. And I couldn't be more delighted to have them as my publishers. And we're having a launch this Saturday, March 25th at 11 o'clock. You can join us. I'm doing a 30-day challenge. It's for literacy. I am very, very passionate about everyone in America, everyone in the world being able to read. Because to do all these wonderful things, it really helps if you can read. It helps if you can fill out forms. AI is coming. You have to know how to read the stuff to do it so you can maximize yourself, because the whole world's changing and you have to have the skills to do it. And literacy is the most important thing. So we're going to join the first 30 days. There's a special coming out. I'll let you know on the launch tomorrow, but you'll be able to sign up for 30 days. And all of those proceeds are going to help literacy foundations. And working with Mark and Crystal and working together in this whole industry and getting books and authors and people, I believe that I can really help. And I'm here and we're here. And I really want you to be part of this journey with me. It's not just one book launch. It is my lifetime journey. Save the oceans, get everyone reading, get everyone moving to their fullest potential. The world would be perfect. Life is perfect, but can't you make each day more perfect, more meaningful? I know Mark's doing that already.
Well, listen, I couldn't be more elated about first the book, obviously you forever, and especially what you're doing, because one of my most famous quotes is, "You got to read to be freed," and only 17% of the world can really read. And our friend Dr. Peter Demandis runs X Prize, and Peter got Elon Musk to put up $100 million, and they went to Africa, to Kenya, not sort of inland from where you were. But of course, I've been there and climbed Kilimanjaro and all that. But they took people in 90 days. They took people that were at least 6 years old and took them from non-reading and math to reading and math. And they'll be, once you've got this skill, you've got it for the rest of your life. And I'm going to do a bonus plus on, and she's going to tell you where and how we're going to have you participate in this challenge. And we want you to, but I'm going to add a challenge, and that is find somebody who can't read and get them to read. And when I did a book with Art Linkletter said, "Hey, look, as a grandparent, I teach my grandkids to read, and then they taught me how to use a computer." What she's saying about AI, and I could, if you go to YouTube, I've done 18 minutes on Elon Musk, because I think he's a reigning genius with 9 multi-billion-dollar companies. But he created AI. He created ChatGPT, as some of you know, in 2015, and most people don't know that. But what he says are two things. Why she's saying you got to read is so you do critical thinking, and then you got to learn how to write once you learn how to read. But what he's saying about AI makes so much sense here, and forgive me for taking a platform, but we got to have people that have ethics and morality, something that you and I totally agree on. And the point is, because if you got a coder that is agnostic or atheist, they don't put that in. And people ask me, well, you're saying AI is great. It is great, but it's like fire. It'll warm the beautiful home I'm in, or it'll burn it down. The fire doesn't care. AI doesn't care. And that's why you got to read a book like The Black Pearl and a letter to the ocean, but it could easily be a letter to your heart and soul, because she shows all these people go through these. Well, this one woman, Katrina, goes through these tremendous upheavals, tremendous challenges over which you say, can you overcome that? And the way you overcome it is because Cynthia is so well read. She is in transcendent consciousness, and transcendent consciousness looks at the problem, solves the problem, and then goes forward, like she said. And that's for every person. So and we got people in Jordan, our friends in Jordan are listening, everywhere around the world right this second, which is just, it's so exciting that we've got this great thing called Zoom and StreamYard to do it today. And I got to do just one other thing before I give the platform back. And that is, this woman has a mermaid experience. And somewhere before we're done today, you got to talk about what it's like to have mermaid-like legs and swim like a fish, or a mermaid and have a merman.
Oh, I sent you the calendar.
Yeah.
Last year, with me and my husband as a mermaid and merman.
Yep, I saw that. I got it. We've hung it proudly. Yes. But so how do they get in part of this challenge? And by the way, the people who are watching late, how do they come in late?
I guess I will give the login to the book, right?
Yeah.
I have it all set up. Can you add it at the end?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Preston will do it. Just
okay.
Narrate it right now so the people that are listening can do it, and some of them can go back, because we'll have it online, of course, at all the social media so they can do it.
So that can be added, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a join the Black Pearl launch, and you just enter it in, put your name, your phone number, your email address, and we'll send you the invitation. I actually have 3 little vignettes I did. I was so excited when the first box came. So I went out over by Carroll's Creek in Annapolis and opened the box. So there's a little 5 or 6 minutes on opening the box and how delightful that is. You have no idea, new authors, if you haven't written your book yet, how exciting it is to open the box and pull out your book.
Put it up close to the screen so everyone can see how beautiful that cover is.
Oh, it is beautiful. And the first thing I did was thank everybody involved in the book. I actually pulled it out right here, and I started with Ruby Fink and Tracy Beller, the book layout and cover design.
Yep.
And Debris Stonebear design, and the cover illustration is Garrett J. Readers, and she did a beautiful job. And I thanked Mark and Carol for their support, and Crystal. And I thanked Ken Walls and Glenn Morshower and all my family and friends, and pretty much went through all of them. And I pulled out the endorsements. This one is one of my favorites. It's by my sister, who I raised because our mom died when she was 3.
Oh, so sorry.
She's currently a colonel in the United States Air Force. I'm so proud of her. And then I got amazing testimonials. So it's all about being grateful to your people. I'm Wyatt Woodsmall and Terry Hermling. And when you get the book, you can read a little more about what they're from and who they are and how they blessed me. Kathy Snyder, she's a photographer, my walking friend for 26 years. If we're both in the area, we walk 26 years. And we walk 4 to 6 miles. We have had some wonderful hiking. We haven't done Mount Kilimanjaro yet, though. Mark, you've got me on.
It's a stretch. You know, it takes 5 days. You go through 5 different climate zones and have to have all that. You got to be in solid shape, and you are. I'm not suggesting that, but even good people get tested.
I'm impressed because we trained a year for Half Dome.
Yeah,
and then also Deborah Lenos and Rudy Maxa, so you can check that out. I actually said that if I wrote my thank yous, all my thank yous to all my people be bigger than the book.
Well, let's talk to that. You could. I just did a whole video on happiness, and what's true is you can only be happy if you're grateful. You can only be happy if your soul is fully alive. And I promise you, Cynthia's soul is alive, and it is illuminated through the book. And I know we're not supposed to give the book away, but let me just do the distilled essence of it. This great woman, Katrina, who is in adoration of the ocean like the two of us are, and my dear friend Weiland is, and all that. He's married to the ocean, he says, the world's greatest marine artist. And we were very close and have dived all over the world together. But this woman has this tragic accident, and technically she was dead for, do you want to talk about how long she was dead for?
Absolutely. I was trying to find the little thing so that you could send it so they know where to sign up.
Okay, well, they're going to sing, and I'll just tell the story. So she's dead for 2 minutes. She's under the sea. She has this illuminating vision of being with a merman, so to speak. Okay, cool. Oh, let's see. Can you read that well enough? Oh, we'll put it in. I see that. Okay, good. We're gonna have to put that in very much. You got to push it down just a little bit. You're up on the photos rather than down. Okay, so it says you want to go to eventsblackpearlbook.com/book/launch. eventsblackpearlbook.com/book/launch. Yep, and we'll get that into the credits in a minute. Our esteemed Preston will put it in, but that's good. We got it.
Okay.
The point is that this book is that she finds out. Let me just do one of the overcomers stories. So they will not admit who hit her with a surfboard, although she was admonished by this beloved Boris fellow. And it turns out the guy that hit her is one of the boys, Tyler and Ryland. and he smashes into her head, gives her a concussion, goes to the hospital, is freaked out. But this kid has a great talent. Would you mind talking about what his great talent is?
He is an amazing surfer, and he
Yeah.
protects his brother. Oh, and he adds in the whole circle of life, he turns out to be a photographer. And when Kat has a huge breakdown in her company because she is in odds with the son of the person who is in charge of the entire company, and he's her big boss.
Right.
And when that happens in some companies, if you're not marching up and doing everything perfect, you are axed. Unfortunately, it does exist. And so she could have been axed, but she had a protector in the organization who had power because she worked herself up. But still, if Kat didn't prove herself and go over all these obstacles, she wouldn't have made it. And little by little, little things fall in place just because of her pure spirit and keeping to her vision. And it turns out that he is a photographer. It turns out the entire state of California, Los Angeles, Beverly Hills would not let her have a model, a photographer, a location, anything. He had shut everything down. And he was just there. She came to just take a walk on the beach and clean her soul because she was so frustrated. And they happened to chat, and she remembered who he was. And they had a little conversation, which I won't disclose with you because it was a turning point. But she sees his work and she recognizes greatness. And she goes, would you work for me? And he comes and he does a phenomenal job. And it's just that little thing, trusting your gut. Trust your gut. Listen to it. It always tells you the right thing. Really, 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 really. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it when things don't work out, but trust it. If you're on the right path, the universe will take care of you.
I just want to go one step further. That, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is the way universe works. I think that, karma is what you put out comes back, or as a man thinketh, so is he or she. The book will capture your heart. It'll capture your soul. It'll give you revelation and illumination. And maybe you're going through a struggle. I don't know anyone who isn't. If you're alive, back to when I was going to be a doctor of physiology, the head of physiology in the world was Dr. Alfred Richardson, the founder of it. And Al said, the first thing about life is that you have problems. If you don't have problems, you're not alive. And right. What this book does, it gives you hope, it gives you help, it gives you inspiration. And I think inspiration is a key that turns on our life. And Cynthia is squish all this into a book that is going to take you a couple hours or a day to read. Depends on your reading speed, of course. And of course, we want you to come to events.pearlbook.com/launch. And just it behooves you to be with her when she launches this, because this book is going to be the penultimate of books. It's a book that you're going to embrace, a book that you're going to love, a book that you're going to share with those that you love. And if you are a landlubber, which I'm going to guess, I have no idea the percentage, but 80% of the people have never really been to the ocean, or they go to the ocean. Like I go to Mexico, I go around the world, everywhere. And you see all the people that stay at the pool and they miss the whole deal. They miss going in the water. You go, wait. Get somebody to take you. Find somebody. And that's one of the things I'm going to recommend to you, Cynthia, is that one of the things we got to do in future books is say that you're going to take people on a regular trip, right? Here we got, I think it's Asia Lady saying thank you. We've had a lot of, I don't know that you all can see all the thank yous we're getting, and the people from literally around the world saying thank you to us doing this live podcast. And here's Miss Friedman Watts. What a great last name. I love 2 names. I love 3 names, Mark Victor Hansen. Anyhow, Cynthia, I hope that you'll take people on trips, not only to your homeland, but all these places that you've been diving and I've been diving, and they need to get in their feet in warm salt water where you float. And if you really want to dive, you got to wear a wet belt. Depends. If you want to just go 10 or 20 feet, you can do it with a snorkel and see the sea life that is just magnificent. Would you mind waxing on about that again, please, like you did in the book so eloquently?
Oh, it's amazing just to go swimming. And, in the Indian Ocean, for example, the water is so clear, you can just open your eyes and you can see the fish in the coral reefs, and they swim through, and the sea urchins, and your foot will brush against and you'll get little nibbles. Some of them, they're taking a little taste of you. They don't hurt. And it is another world. You just go, and you're still, and you relax, and you become one with the world. And it's just the most peaceful, loving, out-of-body experience that you can get. The ocean just calls to you, and you just want to go and be in it. And I hope you come and be in it with me and Mark Victor Hansen in this journey, because we want you to live and live now. You know, we get dressed up, and sometimes people wait to get dressed up for an event. This is your life. Get dressed up every day. Come, let's go swimming.
You know, like I told you, I've been swimming with Wyland and with the high kahuna named Pila, who's still alive. All of them are great friends. And we do 60-foot dives and go on I know you did it there. On a turtle knows so much about your breathing that just holding your breath. And some of you say, well, you really do a 60-foot dive. And my kids, when they're little, would go, Daddy, are you sure it's safe? You're holding on to that turtle and not coming up, and there's no air underneath there. But it's what she just said, is that you really become one with the all. And whatever your stress was when you were above water, you can't have that stress underwater, because you and the ocean are literally one. And the ocean is, 3/4 of the surface of the earth. It's so exquisite and it's so beautiful. And because other than nowadays, we can't wear ties. I'm a tie addict. And I thought, man, when I designed ties, I do own a tie company back in the old days in China. And I'd look at the sea fish and God's glory. No two of them are alike, just like no two people have the same fingerprint, and no trees have the same amount of rings. And rings tell you that all kinds of stuff. We just did a book on that too. But she is going to wake you up to the ocean, wake you up to life. And then there's another topic we got to do, just so I don't blow it. I got it written down here. But why do you want to wake up everybody that's over 50?
Because I look around, and after going through the pandemic and some life, not everyone, we got more superstars coming out and more little spurts. I see them coming. But as a whole, you've got so much in you. Ladies, gentlemen, it's not over. You got, they're living longer now. 100, 105 is like nothing. So let's get going. Let's immerse yourself in your life. Whatever you wanted to do, it's not too late. Okay, so maybe you're a little slower. Guess what? Take your time. Slow and steady wins the race, as they say. Because I know that you can do more. And I know that you can get off that couch and come take a walk with me on the beach. That's another thing I love to do. It's walk on the beach. It clears your soul. Breathing sea air takes you to another level. Being on a cruise, being on a boat, fishing. This is the ways the ocean gives us everything. Everything for your spirit, your soul. And I don't know how I know, but I know that you can have more, be more, do more, because you deserve more, because you are perfect just the way you are. So come.
And I can feel her heart, because your heart and soul are so open. And I think that's why people around the world are saying, oh, thank you for coming on and waking us up to this. And they're giving us 4 hearts. I don't know if you get to see what I get to see, but thank you for that. Is it what happens, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not an ocean lover, it's because you haven't been to the right ocean, number one, or number two, you haven't been with a mentee. You're not being a mentee to a mentor like her. Like, I taught my kids in Hawaii, of course, and Kona, which has also great water and 3 of the best beaches in the world on a big island. And it is such a wonderful thing. And then what she said is that, let's say that you're somewhat crippled or not ambulatory as you used to be. If you'll dive with somebody like her or with me, and there's plenty of people, it's not just 2 of us, they'll take you. And if you wear a strap, they'll take you in the water and you won't drown. You're going to have the time of your life. And you're going to find out that you'll probably get your ambulation back, because you'll start to move, because you won't even know it, because you're going to see the fish. Like, back to the book about Katrina, is that she ended up having her legs in an altered state of consciousness were like a mermaid, and she got to swim with a merman. And it's heart touching and soul penetrating. Next question, just again, I don't want to miss any of these before we run out of time. You are, thank God you are, a little speakaholic like I am, right? And talk about where you want to speak, to whom you want to talk, and how often you'd like to be willing to do that.
I will go anywhere if you buy 200 books or more and come speak for free. I am available. I want to speak. I want to act. I want to do commercials, and I want to get this book made into a movie or TV series. I have so many more pieces to add into it. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. It was so hard to edit out, like most of my life. But I think it gets the essence of it, because I'm here and I'm here to serve. And I have already read to old age homes here in my area, because they get lonely. You know, if you don't have anything to do, you could go visit one of these retirement homes or old age homes and just come in and read a book, read this book, pick it up, get 200 or more for all the residents, and I'll come and read for you, because they have beautiful minds and they need to be woken up and know that they can do things. It's a sin to not be living your life. It's a sin. And we can help each person, because you can read at old age homes. You can read at retirement homes. Heck, I didn't think about it, but we could read in jails. I think they have internet there now.
Yeah, they do.
I also started, when I was in New York, I started a little for underprivileged children's down at St. Vartan's. And every Tuesday, I had a little open house kind of thing for about 4 hours. So I would read a book to the children. I was kind of babysitting. I would read a book to the children. I do arts and crafts. We made puppets. We made bookmarkers. And as a matter of fact, residents of that, the first 50 books that get ordered get a handmade bookmarker. And my husband's making these, and a black pearl will be right there, a real black pearl. And a fish item will be on the bottom. And if you enter the launch tomorrow, you have a chance to win one of these with your signed book. And that will be going on for 30 days. But I digress. You can read to children, read to your grandchildren. Instead of watching TV, which I love TV and I love movies, but take time, because if you're sitting there reading a book, or if you read something particular or a chapter, or they don't even know who the writers are or who the poets are, and you have to say, hey, Black Pearl, a letter from the ocean. Mom, let me read this to you. Wouldn't that be fun? You know, you have something else to do. When my dad was very sick, I took care of him for 7 years in my home, because I didn't want to put him in one of those places, actually. And we read Chicken Soup for the Heart, or chicken noodles. What's your chicken soup book?
Chicken soup for the soul. It's okay. It's okay. It's exciting.
There's so many of them. And that really helped. And we read every night. It was like part of our bedtime thing, right? We like to watch history shows, Westerns, and hear a piece of that book.
And
So,
then you want to talk about it afterwards. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to brag about speaking. Obviously, I've been doing it for 55 years and still am, and plan to live to be 127 with options for renewal, because Genesis 6:3 says you're supposed to minimum 6:3. Genesis 6:3 says 120 years, and your eye should not be weak, breath bated, or God found in your oath. Means you should be able to still swim and go enjoy the ocean and love life and be vital and full of it. And read it with your kids, grandkids, and great grandkids. And the point is, she will make sure every book gets signed to all of you. But here's what happens in a speech: the people wake up, because I've attended more speeches and given more than most people, and I'm addicted to still attending. And I've attended 3 or 4 major speeches in the last couple of days. The point is, you get entrained by somebody, and you get awakened to their vitality, their life. But you've got to get in the energy orbit of a great and inspiring person like Cynthia to illuminate your soul, to say, hey, wait, you're like what she's just been saying, you are more than you think you are, right? And what Christ would have said is, my mind has many rooms, but it really, in Aramaic, it means many dimensions. And what happens is, when you read her book, you get new dimensionality, meaning you'll wake up to, hey, wait a second, I haven't got on my bucket list that I got to go see the oceans. I haven't got on my bucket list that I got to go to the seashell. I haven't got it on my bucket list that I'm supposed to dive in an ocean. I do 4 times a year, but you need to do that. And with our grandkids, we took them to Cancun most recently. It's so exciting, because they all become more vitally alive and know what's happening. Whew. Cynthia, talk to that. When you go out, you're going to, not only if they buy the 200 books, you're going to come out and talk. Then let me ask you the second thing. After you do a half hour, 45-minute talk, you're going to open it up to any questions they want. Is that correct?
that's correct.
because here's what's I'm discovering more and more that people want, at least for Crystal and I and Preston, who is behind the scenes here today, ladies and gentlemen, is our son. But we just did a giant meeting here in Scottsdale, and the people, once Crystal and I talked, they had 8 hours of questions. I mean, they didn't even want us to let us have lunch or dinner. They just want to keep asking questions. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to bring her in to talk. And just investing in 200 books is like a non-event for most of you. So and if you've got a father or a mother in a convalescent home or a hospice home or anything like that, bringing her in will wake a lot of these people up and reawaken their soul and their heart and everybody. If you're alive, you're needed. And she just wakes you up to the potentiality. And remember, I teach that you got 100% potential in seven levels of your life, not only spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, socially, emotionally, politically, but she does all that, and she is vitally alive. And you need to get somebody in front of the people who are not feeling life full and inspire them. Because I said, it's the key that turns on the ignition, makes your life vital and worthwhile. What do you say to all that, Cynthia?
Woo! Gotta come on this journey. He's amazing. We're amazing. You're amazing. It's a little chant I do, right? You go, you are amazing. I am amazing. We are amazing. And then you make your volume go up. It works on mountains, in the bathroom, in front of a mirror with your friend. And how can you not know that amazingness of you? All together now. You are amazing. I am amazing. We are amazing. And I've been doing this little chant since I've met my soul sisters in Santa Barbara. And we have had a wonderful time. And I've been spreading this little thing. And it really does touch your soul. And guess what? All you have to do is when you wake up in the morning, breathe, and start at your toes and go, I'm grateful for my fins. I'm grateful for my toes, my legs. Go up your whole body. Think of all the benefits. Do you know we live like better than kings and queens? And even in America, I love the entire world, but we have such a beautiful life. Such a beautiful life. And guess what? It can be better. It can be better. Visit the ocean. Read a book. Teach a book. Share a book. Give a book. Support your fellow man in the universe, because there's so much more out there. And this is just a drop in the bucket or a drop in the ocean. Yeah.
Well, by the way, you may remember the metaphor that you said, enough drops made the ocean. And I thought every one of your metaphors was worthy of thinking. And what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you get that you start to say, hey, wait a second. My drop is important because it helped create the whole ocean. And the ocean is me, and I'm the ocean. And somebody's writing your input, because your input, your throughput, and then your output. And you're here for better output than ever. Please, from my heart and soul to yours, get this book, read it, share it. I'm going to get, them for all my friends. So I would ask you to get it for all your friends too, because it's going to soar. And like I said, I'm friends with Nora Roberts, and we were on the side of 50 million Diet Coke cases for 6 months. We raised enough money for to get 15,000 kids into boys and girls clubs, and I'm going to see if we can pull that off again with Cynthia. This book by Cynthia. And I can't promise, but it's those kind of things that matter, because Diet Coke drinkers are that, or we'll find some other business that wants to do a cause-related charity, and I don't have any connection with them now, but this book will inspire you to think bigger, because this woman overcame every problem show the cover up close. Yeah. Everyone needs to read The Black Pearl, A Love Letter to the Ocean. And if you've never fallen in love with the ocean, I hope, and I see by all the little notes that keep coming across the screen, that a lot of you have been inspired by us to go decide to put it on your bucket list and write in, I am going to become in love with the ocean, and go there on a regular basis.
And there's lots of oceans, lots and lots of oceans. Go visit Key West. That's another wonderful experience. And you can go visit Ernest Hemingway's house with all the cats. He was an excellent
Penny in his swimming pool.
Yes, and you can swim with the dolphins.
Yeah, and right next to his house is Harry Truman's house, which he swam every morning and walked with all the generals when he had to do some war efforts. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have an amazing world, but America is 3/4 surrounded by ocean, unless you're dealing with the Hawaiian Islands, and then that's surrounded more. And Alaska, I've never thought this through before, but it's surrounded by a lot of it's frozen, but 3/4 ocean too, probably. And I am, and I'll just tell you, Wyland just sent me a note that he was just in Alaska with the Queen of the Sea. She's on the board of directors of his company, his foundation with me, Dr. Sylvia Earle, and they did deep ocean diving and took pictures of stuff that's never been seen before. Because when I started diving, I was 16 years old. I was making a lot of money as a rock star. And an aqualung cost enormous amounts of money, like equivalent like $4,000 today. But we were making so much money a night, it didn't matter. So, and we'd pull out dead bodies out of cars, all kinds of cool stuff, and break ice. But back then, neoprene suits, as you know, or maybe you don't know, but were really thin, like 3/8. Today, they're really warm. They're well designed, because each generation, the reason we need so many people in the world is because each generation figures out new solutions that no one had before. And what books do is communicate that to the whole world. And the guy that got Jacques Cousteau to dive was Jules Verne. Jules Verne wrote Around the World in 80 Days, but he wrote 4 things that were impossible. One of which is that we're going to go under the sea with and have some sort of tube that gives us oxygen. Then, of course, he said we're going to fly, and everybody called him a lunatic. And obviously the Wright brothers read that, believed it. And we're going to have a car, and Henry Ford read it and said, wow, why can't I make a motor car? And of course, then we'll have communication go through wires or through the air. And obviously, our little friend Alexander Graham Bell decided to create the ringy dingy, so to speak. The point is, this book will wake you up to who your potential is, like that book then did. Now, you've got to get this book. If you can afford to invest $200, if you haven't done a charitable act in your life, we tithe in every one of my books. This is something you need to tithe on for people you'll never help, because you're sitting under the shade of trees somebody else planted for you, eating fruit that somebody else planted for you. And now this book will be planted in your heart, mind, soul. And if you plant it in 200 other heart, minds, and souls, it'll help them, and it'll accelerate you exponentially up your life's journey. A lot of you watching and listening and watching this later can easily, effortlessly afford that. And you already know the place the books have to go. And she wants to come out and befriend all those people, help them, inspire them, lead them, because she's a visionary leader that leads, and she sees more for herself and sees more for you than you've ever seen. Final comments, Cynthia.
Wow, you are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. I'm so lucky that you're here. I'm so delighted. I'm so grateful that I'm here with you. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you on Saturday, March 25th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the little launch that I'm doing. And you'll find out more about the 30 days of gratitude that we're giving 100% of the Kindle purchases. And there's a special in there too, to literacy. And I'm interested in everything that you have to say about literacy, because, you know, even when you are alone, your book can take you other places. You can learn all about the ocean, and anything in the world, you can read about it. And if you read about it and you write it down and you take notes and you want it to happen, you plant the seed, it will happen. Swim away with those ideas. Swim away with those ideas, because we have so much capacity, just as Mark was saying. And if you read and see, oh, how do they do it? How do they do it? It's more powerful. You can get a lot of stuff out of YouTube. I'm saying YouTube is great. However, when you read it, touch it, feel it, write it, you absorb more into your soul, and your brain is always working, right? So it's in the background going, it's ideas swimming around, and they percolate, and out comes a pearl.
And in the book, it obviously says how pearls generated. And I'm not going to tell you that right now, but I just wanted to say that, back to my hero, Elon Musk, is that Elon Musk says, I was raised by books. My mother just had me. And he says, I read never less than 10 hours a day. And what Cynthia just said is correct. It compounds your ideas, and you never know when you're going to need them, and you never know what ideas you're going to need. And he was an omnivorous and all encompassing reader. And now obviously he's got lots of accolades, and I don't need to give him more accolades, except the principle that she and I are espousing here that's correct is you got to read to be freed. And some of you say, well, I don't want to read. And last book I'm ever going to read was in high school. No, don't be an idiot. You got to be smart, and you got to be wise, and books open up your imagination, and fiction books make you think. And now we're doing a lot of books with psychiatrists in our Mark Victor Hansen Library, and every one of them says to make sure you get rid of dementia and Alzheimer's, which is rampaging for a lot of reasons. Good nutrition helps, exercise helps. But the third thing that they're saying is you got to read fiction books, because I'll just use Sidney Sheldon because I picked on him earlier, and he and I did a lot of TV shows together. But Sidney would say something on page 3, and it wouldn't come up again to page 398, and you go, oh my God, thank God I can remember that. But your mind, what she's saying is your mind is infinitely capable. Remember, you're made in the image and likeness of the infinite. Therefore, you're infinite, and you have potentially, like Solomon, infinite wisdom available if you start to claim it like I'm amazing and you're amazing and we're amazing. I'm infinite, you're infinite, we're infinite. And if you start to read an infinite amount of books, starting with Cynthia's, and then I'll just throw in a pitch for mine, I've only written 318, so you got a lot of them, and you can see some of them behind me now. But we want you to become a bigger, better reader. And minimum, our homework assignment for you now, as I start to bring this to a close, is 1 book a week. That's a minimum. And then also 1 book of biography or autobiography, and mine up here is called Relentless. It was a biography of the year last year, right? I want you to become a master at reading. And you can obviously go to HansenInstitute.com, which just flashed across the screen because Preston's doing such a good job, and see all this stuff. But I absolutely endorse, without equivocation, any of you read Cynthia's book and not like it, which I think is impossible because it's irresistibly compelling reading. And I promised you it was chicken soup for my soul as I reread it today and cried, even though I knew where the stories were going. It is amazing. And I do see it as a movie. Cynthia, thanks for sharing. One last word, final word?
Love life, just as it is, and just as it is not. Life is your friend. Thank you so
everybody.
much.
It's been a delight being with you all.
Thank you. And you'll see me again. Let's be friends.